everybody, my name is Chris and this will be my review for The Flash. Now, thank you to Warner Brothers for inviting me to an early screening of The Flash. I got the chance to see the film early, so I have this review up for you guys. Now, before we get into the review, a quick synopsis of the film first. Now, with The Flash, we follow the story of Barry Allen, who finds out he can travel into the past with this superpower at his disposal. He figures he can go back in time and save his mother from dying, accidentally breaking the timeline, putting himself in a new reality. Like, man, it's insane the behind-the-scenes drama this film has gotten over the last couple of years, even before the stuff concerning Ezra Miller. Now, this movie went to a bunch of different directors and writers, changed to the story, until they finally landed with Andy Muschietti as the director. Then, because it was ready to go right before the pandemic, it had to be delayed several times, and then in between delays is complication. The whole DC universe has basically gotten rebooted, and we had a couple of new heads at the studio, one of them being James Gunn, who has a new idea for what to do in this universe. But let me tell you guys, The Flash is a fantastic film. I have been looking forward to a Flash film for so long, finally having his own solo film on the big screen, and I can't believe it's taking this long. You think about all the other superheroes that we have gotten solo films, and The Flash isn't one of them. I think The Flash is one of the most legendary DC characters out there, and they didn't have a movie about them. Now, one of my main fears with going into the Flash movie, as you know, all the supporting characters, we have Michael Keaton's Batman in there, and I was super excited to see him part of this film. Also, we have Supergirl being thrown in there. Then you have Zod as a villain from Man of Steel also being part of this. And it felt like, this is a Flash movie, or this is just a movie with a bunch of DC characters featuring the Flash? Thankfully, after watching the movie, this is a Flash story. Director Andy Muschietti, he handled the balance of all these characters so well without letting take that away from the Barry Allen story. And with all the different DC characters, surprise cameos they show up throughout the film, I never felt like it was really taken away from Barry Allen. It all just kind of felt like the cherry on top of the cake. I agree with a lot of people when they first announced they were going to be handling the Flashpoint Paradise storyline, because that's a big story in the Flash universe. I was a bit nervous, like, why would you do that with your first movie right off the gate? But the natural progression of the following up with everything that wasn't said previously in the DCEU movies, it felt like the natural evolution for the Barry Allen character. And here he's giving such an amazing arc for this character. There was some aspect of Barry Allen in the previous DCU movies that I wasn't always into that. I thought the Flash was too much of a goofy character. And I still think he was the funny in the group, and he had one of the best moments in the Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. And we get to see a more mature version of Barry Allen. They kind of come face to face with some obnoxious side of Barry Allen, and we get to see this character like grow into his own and grow as we were first introduced to him. That was a part of the film that I was not expecting. It's what kind of drives the emotional impact of the movie, because it has a lot of heart, and the story of Barry Allen trying to save his mom and then coming into terms to what he has to do. It was something really riveting, and getting on the subject of the I think the Ezra Miller is very strong performance here, especially those emotional scenes. I think they them did a fantastic job. Now, getting in getting into the subject of a lot of the DC supporting characters in here, I'm excited for what James Gunn is going to do in this new DC universe. But the first 10 to 15 minutes of the Flash movie, man, the DCEU never looks better. It felt like I was watching an episode from the animated series, the Justice League Unlimited. And I love that series so much, and like the world building that has happened in the past couple of years with those DCU movies. That some of them have been really great, some of them have been like, man, it was like all of that was really finally paying off in those first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. And you have, this is in the trailers, so it's not a spoiler. You have the Flash in Center City trying to get to work, but then Batman needs his help, and they go to do some street level crime stuff, and we all it's so sync, and finally made this world feel realized. And it's kind of sad that this universe is ending for whatever James Gunn wants to do next. Ben Affleck's Batman continues to be amazing. Being in action one more time, both in and out of the suit, was so great, and I'm going to miss Ben Affleck's Batman so much. Michael Keaton scenes in here, ain't nobody who was telling you the audience are not excited or care about Michael Keaton's Batman, or they are so wrong. He's beloved, and for a good reason. I grew up with him. It was my first Batman movie, and it was so cool seeing all his scenes. Obviously, they're trying to marketing this as a very nostalgia thing, and it has that iconic line like from the first movie, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." And watching that was fantastic, man. And but I would say that all of that stuff is kept to a minimum in the movie. I don't think there's like a lot of nostalgia based or reference to all movies and going, hey, you remember that scene? Hey, you remember this scene for this movie? No, it's not like that. And in fact, I like that about this movie. And I will argue between Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, The Flash is the best multiverse comic book movie out there. Obviously, I have a special place in my heart for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but now where I'm referring here, I'm in terms of explaining the multiverse in the DC universe and how the timeline got messed up, and even the visualizations of those people in here, and like then they're really leaning into those comic book aspect of the character of Flash, and I love it. Because well, I'm not going to argue that like The Flash is the best DC movie ever made. There is a real argument that The Flash is the best comic book movie ever made in the DC universe. Now, there's a clear distinction about that. For example, you look something as The Dark Knight with Christopher Nolan, Matt Reeves, the Batman. Those could be argued as the best movies of DC overall, period. But those films also kind of strip away all those comic book aspects of those characters. They are grounded in realism, and they take a realistic approach to those characters, which is all great. I love them both movies, but The Flash isn't afraid to lean into those comic book tropes, be a light-hearted, while still having some of those grounded serious moments. And just the way it tackles all the different characters coming in, you really feel like you're flipping pages of a DC comic book. Now, talking about Sasha Calle's Supergirl in here. One of the best parts of this movie, I love her action scenes, especially with Saw, and she's gritty in this film. Was an interesting approach to the character. She really makes this character her own, and they're making a Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie, and after watching Sasha Calle's Supergirl, man, there you have it. She's perfect, especially that storyline will be fantastic to see her. Now, I do have some negative things about the film, but before that, I want you to know that I genuinely love the film. I had a blast watching the film. I walked out of the theater with a big smile on my face. I was very happy. Now, okay, now getting into some of my negatives, mostly it's about a big chunk of that has to do with the CGI of the film. But it seems like to be intentionally wonky. There were scenes in the Flash that were absolutely phenomenal, and a lot of slow motion with the Flash, some really cool zoom in molecular stuff, and I was geeking out. But in some spot, the visual effects doesn't really look real at all. Clearly was a choice. Some scenes look fake as hell, and I was kind of okay, and I was liking it. Now, there's sometimes the characters you look like a PS5 characters, stunning graphics, but their faces look like rubbery, kind of like an uncanny valley feel, and I thought it wasn't a deal breaker for me, but I know that some people are going to be noticing that and say like, oh, that was like a big CGI heavy moment right there. Aside from that, my main negatives will be coming to the third act of the movie. Now, I'm not going to say the third act is like bad. There are elements in the third act there where the movie, I would say, it doesn't fall apart, but just definitely start to see the cracks. And everything was so perfect before that, and then it started to happen, those cracks. Now, while I often mentioned in my review earlier on, there are cameos and surprises in this movie, but the movie isn't built on those cameos and surprises. Basically all put in one specific scene that had me smiling, and it also shows how the movie is really, the Flash movie is a celebration of DC, not just the DCEU or James Gunn future DC. It's everything DC. But also, I want to say that within the same sequence, there is a villain that appears that they kind of appear to the movie. Now, some of you guys know who I'm talking about, and if you've seen the toys from the movie, you know who it is. But in case you don't know about this villain, I won't get into much detail here. But I would say I was intrigued, and there's definitely like a cool backstory with this villain. But as soon as they're introduced in review, and we get like that out of the way, they kind of gotten rid of that so fast, and like the setup and build that you had in the movie and mystery of who this person is like uneventful, and they're like they just had to like rush out because the movie was already so long, and I felt that maybe they can handle that a bit better. But it's just I feel that some scenes were changed or cut from this film. But like I said, it all comes to that. It's just some messy things in the third half and some questionable CGI. But there was no deal breakers for me. Other than that, I love this movie. I want to watch it again multiple times, and I highly recommend it. This is the movie the DC fans need now. It's truly a blast. And that's my review for The Flash. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye bye.